My name is Eloy, and I am old. These days, I'm content to look out at the world from high in the White Arch. But when I was younger, I traveled the world and saw many great wonders. And of all the tales I could tell, none is more wonderful than that of Adam, Prince of Mo.
Lost Eden, a point-and-click adventure game from 1995 about a world in which dinosaurs and humans coexist. Lost Eden must have been the first video game I came in touch with as a child. To this day I can remember my dad actually buying and playing this game. I myself have also played this game when I was younger. And even though I could not understand or speak English at the time, I have fond memories of playing this game with my two brothers. So in today's video I will review this game as part of the Nostalgia Time series. Yay, I'm actually continuing a series for once. Go me, yay! How does this game compare to today's standards? Can this game still be enjoyable if you've never played it before? Has this game stood the test of time, or has my nostalgia completely been destroyed after my recent playthrough? Let's find out today. Lost Eden was released in 1995 for MS-DOS, Macintosh and the 3DO. The latter of which is apparently a gaming console from 1993, of which I'd never heard before making this video. This game was developed by Cryo, who went bankrupt in 2002, and was released by Virgin Interactive, who also went bankrupt but in 2005. And let's just be honest, with such a company name you really deserve to go bankrupt. Lost Eden is a point-and-click style adventure game. The focus of this game is more on the story elements than on the gameplay elements, but I will get more into the gameplay elements later in this video. Let's first start with the story of Lost Eden. In Lost Eden you play as Adam of Mo, a young prince who lives in a fantasy world where dinosaurs and people, both human and humanoids, coexist. Adam grows up protected within the citadel walls of Mo, and the game starts the day Adam comes of age. On this day, Eloy, a pterodactyl, and also the dinosaur from whose perspective the story is told, visits the citadel to bring grave news. Apparently, the Tyrant, a horde of Tyrannosaurus rex, led by Morcus rex, have recently attacked a nearby land in an attack in which plenty of people died. Both people and dinosaurs used to be able to defend themselves by building citadels together. The people would work the land and provide the food, while the dinosaurs provided the raw strength to actually build the citadels. However, because of Adam's grandfather, also known as the Enslaver, the trust between humans and dinosaurs was broken. Citadels were abandoned, and both humans and dinosaurs were to fend for themselves, resulting in no one to oppose the Tyrant. Lost Eden focuses on Adam rebuilding the trust between dinosaurs and humans, rebuilding citadels, and defeating Morcus rex. Okay, so how is this game played? The gameplay roughly consists of walking around, interacting with the world, or talking to people or dinosaurs. Your mouse cursor will indicate what you do when you click. If you hold your mouse at the top of the screen, for example, it can turn into an arrow pointing forward, and the cursor will start to rotate in that direction. But of course only if you can actually walk forward. The same thing goes for moving left, right, and down. Clicking will move you to the next location, which is sometimes accompanied by a transition video. At specific locations, you will sometimes see people or dinosaurs with whom you can interact. The mouse cursor will then show a drawing of a stick figure. Lastly, you can find items at specific locations, which you can pick up and put in your inventory below in the screen. Gameplay mostly consists of talking to people and finding out what you should do next. After a short while in the story, you actually leave the citadel, at which point you can travel to a new place. In such a place or land, you can overview the entire area by clicking the button in the upper right corner. Clicking any place on the map will bring you there. Here you can walk around and fulfill objectives for the story. Your main focus will be to find Brontosaurus. Brontosaurus turn out to be one of the two main types of dinosaurs that can actually build citadels. As mentioned before, you will also need to find local inhabitants to help with the construction of a citadel. To actually build a citadel, you will first need to befriend the Brontosaurus. This can be done by feeding them mushrooms. After you have built your first citadel, Eloy will suggest that you keep traveling to find new places and build new citadels. At this point you can start to travel around the world. And let's just take time to appreciate the fact that the world map looks like a version of Pangea. Really cool. Traveling to new places basically restarts the cycle. Find dinosaurs, find the indigenous people, and build a citadel. Of course, this cycle is broken after some time. The tyrants show up and you need the help of the velociraptors to beat them. You will travel to a hidden location to ask the Mesosaurus for help to reach a secluded location out at sea, and much more. Okay, but progression in general, how does that work? Because the games I remember from the 90s could be really tough. So how is that for this game? Well, luckily there is one more game element we haven't discussed, which is interacting with your party. At the top of your screen you can take a look at your party and talk to people from your party. Unlike what you would probably think, every character has almost always a different voice line for every situation that your party can be in. That really surprised me, to be honest. But anyway, you can use your party as a source for tips. Some party members give really useful tips.
Yes. The velociraptors are able to chase the tyrant, but I don't know how you may persuade them to fight for you. I've heard that the 𝐒𝐄𝐑𝐕𝐄𝐑 know the velociraptors well. Why not ask them?
While some, not so much. So while on the subject of party members, I actually think characters in this game are quite well thought up. We have Eloy, who is always positive.
The struggle continues, Lord. The tyrant will fall.
We have our boy Thug, who always does what he's told.
King want you in throne room. Adam not leave. King orders. Like a bad king.
And sometimes characters just get into really funny interactions with each other. This is what happens when Thug meets someone who is quite similar to him.
You fight good. Now Tamnian's free. My mother Tamnian. I Thug. Like apples, I bug.
And who's that Parasaurolophus? What's his name?
This is the Valley of Shamar, Prince Adam, and this is Mongo, a friend.
Prince Adam of Mo. Greetings.
What? Mungo? But anyway, Mungo is the one who really gives you good advice. I have to say that the antagonist, Morcus Rex, is also really fitting. He just looks scary and the voice actor has done a really good job. Just take a look.
Spying on me? Look well, human, look. And no fear. You think there is safety in Mo. Walls will not save your life. Nothing lives if I say it shall die.
Okay, so let me now address the one thing I dislike about this game. This is also one of the things I already noticed as a kid, and it is something my brothers and I used to joke about a lot. You may have already noticed this, but the characters do seem to have, let's just say, repeating facial expressions. They move a bit too expressively, if you ask me. We have Gregor, Adam's father, who apparently has some form of Parkinson's and can't stop moving his wrist. Ooh, this guy is going to have some severe RSI. We have Eloy, who always seems to be very suggestive with his eyebrows. This can lead to some very strange interactions.
The female Dina wishes urgently to speak with you outside.
What?
Adam, you have come.
And even though it's not so obvious for some characters, it can be really distracting if you're having a conversation with a character who does have these strange facial expressions. So now that we have a basic understanding of this game, let's take a look at the looks of this game. I'm not too up to date on games from 1995, but I have found another adventure game from 1995. Let's take a look.
I have a question. Do you know anything about a very old man named Malcolm?
Malcolm Wormshadow? Do I ever. Talk about a strange old man. But I haven't seen him for months, though Ethel does come into town to buy groceries.
Who's Ethel?
Yeah. So all things considered, let's just say that this game looks decent compared to other games from that year. And while on the subject of looks, I particularly remember really enjoying the scenic scenes as a kid. I would actually still say that these look quite good, in particular towards the end of the game, when all of the citadels are being finished up. I remember revisiting all the citadels just to take a look at what the citadel had become. I would also argue that this game is still quite good at setting a fitting atmosphere. Okay, allow me to share a few of those with you. In this first one, which takes place at the start of the game, Dina asks you to sneak out of the citadel to help her visit her dying grandfather. This is the sequence that you see and the music that you hear. This is just one of many great settings you will see. This game is also very good at making you feel uncomfortable. Let me show you a small section of Adam entering the catacombs at the Citadel of Mo. Ooh, I remember that this part you also used to give me the creeps when I was a kid. And this brings me to another thing that this game does really good. Now, I don't know if this is just nostalgia, so you just tell me, but I think this game has an amazing soundtrack. It can be mysterious, it can be creepy as we heard before, it can have a nice traveling beat. The music in this game fits so amazingly well, and you also have a new song for almost every location you visit. It is really amazing for a game from 1995 in my opinion. Okay, let me just give you another example. I will show you what it looks like when you encounter the tyrant without music. Take a look. Okay, so what do you think the music will sound like? Now here's the same clip, but this time with music. Isn't this really fitting? When I hear this music, I'm immediately on edge and I think, holy shit, I've got to get that fuck out of here. And I think it's a great achievement if a game can really give you that feeling. And by the way, you really should get the fuck out of there when you hear that music. Because if you don't, you will get the first ever jump scare I encountered in my life. And I will show you that now, but don't be scared. I also really hate jump scares myself, so I will add a timer so you don't get scared. Okay, here it comes.
Lord Adam!
For some reason this still scares me, even though I already know what is coming. But yeah, moving on. Okay, I think it's time to move on to the final verdict. Do I think this game has stood the test of time? Yes, I actually kind of think it has. Lost Eden is not going to be a life-changing game. It is not a bestseller, but it has an interesting story, great setting, great music, and decent characters. I was actually really surprised about this myself during my recent playthrough. I think this was actually the first playthrough I did in which I fully understood what was going on in this game. So, all things considered, I give this game a 7 out of 10. And if your interest has been piqued by this video, if there's only a slightly bit of interest I've awoken in this video, I would really suggest you try this game out. It is available on Steam. Yes, it costs 10 euros, which is quite a lot in my opinion for this game. Alternatively, there are always different ways to obtain this game. But if you don't want to go through the hassle of setting up a DOS box, I would really recommend buying it through Steam. But I'm sure you can always find a cheaper key somewhere else. But that is it for me today. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps me out a lot. I will leave you with a nice Lost Eden outro song, and I'll see you in the next one.